Hello and welcome to Tabletop Odyssey. My name is Jay and today I want to talk about why I think Super Fantasy Brawl might be a game changer for the Skirmish gaming. And the Kickstarter has literally just gone live. The reason I want to talk about this is Skirmish games I think are going to be important in the future. Obviously I've made a second channel called Rage Crit where, you know, when this game does eventually come out I'll probably be playing it there, etc. But I just want to talk about why I think this might be the one. There's a few. I mean, there's a few reasons. We'll just look at the Kickstarter first. It's literally just gone live. It went live at 8 o'clock. It's now 8:03 in the UK, and you can see the Kickstarter amount rapidly progressing. That pledge of the goal of 23,000 obviously going to get hit. So what is this game? Let's talk about what it is. And why I think it's going to be important. So the aesthetic of it is sort of Hearthstone-y, if you are familiar with that from Blizzard, and I mean that with as a good thing. It's colourful, it's vibrant, it's a joy to look at, and I just think that this has got all the potential for me of becoming a really good competitive game, a little bit like what Warhammer Underworlds sort of is or was, but with a sales model that I think is actually a little bit more conducive and more what people would want. Although I do think if Games Workshop was behind this game, it would be a mega mind-blowing hit, possibly cementing wargaming as its next big thing. Just because they've got so much clout. This is made by Mythic Games, who are obviously a fantastic company. They've just done the Kickstarter. Well, not done the Kickstarter. They've done the release for Joan of Arc. Lovely miniatures and apparently a great game, but I haven't played it, so don't quote me on that too much. But it's obviously going to do gangbusters anyway. It's going to be a very popular game one way or another. And the Kickstarter is as such. So let's talk about what it is. It's it's very handily summarized here. 30 to 40 minute playtime. You can do two to four players, but probably 2 is generally the amount you want to go at. Not sure why it's age 14 plus. Seems interesting. And the no dice system is very interesting as well. You can see it's on a board. I'm not 100% sure of the board size, but from gameplay, let's say 2x2, something like that. I actually don't know if it's somewhere says here. The miniatures are quite large scale, so they should be easier to paint. For me, that's not necessarily true because I'm terrible at painting, but the miniatures are as such. And the interesting thing about this game, a little bit like God Tier from Steamforged Games, there's no factions. So the way it works is each character is going to bring a certain amount of cards. I have a feeling, let's find out here, it's 6 action cards, right? So, well, in the core set you get 12 characters, and you can just pick whichever 3 that you like. Now, in a friendly game you could actually do like a drafting system, but I presume at like a competitive level you will just pick the 3 that you actually want. And you'll be obviously making synergies with those action cards. So it's not a deck builder, which is one thing that I personally wasn't a huge fan of the Warhammer Underworlds, because you had to buy extra boxes for things that you didn't want to get the cards that you could use for your army that you did want, your warband or whatever you want it for what you want. And obviously each miniature here is very flavorful. The story of the game is something like, it's a little bit crazy. It's something like there's wizards in the future who are picking champions to fight for them. I don't know, but there's fluff there. And one of the interesting things about this game is when you do actually knock somebody out, they don't die, they just respawn, but you get a point for doing that. And I think in a base game it's first to 5. You get 5 points, you win. And you don't just score points by knocking people out, there are objectives and that kind of thing. So let's see, so these challenge cards, there's like a track, and at various points those challenge cards are worth more points. So at the start it's worth 1, then I think for the next 2 turns it's worth 2, and then it's worth 1, and then you literally don't claim it. And that'll be stuff like control the middle objective, control the yellow area, or whatever it may be. And it's alternate turns, so it's not alternate actions. You only have 3 people, but you only get to do 3 actions. Now those actions are, I don't know if I can actually name them here, but they're the colours of magic. They'll probably have a particular name. So it's like the red, green, and yellow, is it? Let's have a look at the colours. I can't remember off the top of my head. I can't remember. Well, yellow, blue, and red. I think those are the 3 colours of magic there. So if it's my turn, I get to do 3 of those. Then I, with a randomly selected amount of cards, and when it's your turn, you get to do 3 of those. Now the interesting thing there again is there's reactions. So if it's my turn, you can react with one of your 3, but then that means that you then can't use that on your turn. So there's, you know, gameplay wise, it's very interesting. I'm not trying to do an overview of the game here, even though it looks like I'm doing. The miniatures are obviously fantastic. These are some extra like perks for the Kickstarter, some cool plastic trays, etc. I'm not sure 100% what will be at retail and what won't be. The add-ons. So I really like, when I saw this, there was like 3 miniatures in an expansion. I was like, I would have preferred just 1, because then you can pick and choose. You don't have to buy something you don't want. But then I just looked at the price and I was like, all right, if it's going to be like $15, $20, whatever it ends up being for 3 really cool miniatures, yeah, I'm happy with that. It's like buying a unit instead. I guess if you just sold 1, you've got to box it and have the cards, and it'd be a very small pack. Whereas this, they can do like a nice little box that's going to have the 3 of the miniatures, and that's a fantastic looking upgrade. They're the Force of Nature upgrade. You get, if you do Kickstarter it now, you get sleeves, you get a neoprene mat if you go for the super fan or whatever they call it. No, the super fan's the normal one. The Master Wizard pledge, which is probably what I'll be doing. This is going to talk about the game mechanics. This is if you want to draft it, that's fine. The colours of magic, you've got to win points. So as I said, the interesting thing here is that there are no dice rolls. So what you do when it is your turn, you well, at the start of the game, you'll draw, I think it's 5 cards. Once you then use 3 in your turn, and then I think you either discard them all and get another 5, or you draw back up to 5. One or the other. I'm not 100% sure which way around that's going to be. I haven't properly read the rules. But those cards then give you action. So it'll be like an attack or a move or a combination of the 2. Or a combination of extra different things. Some of them are pushes, so you can push people into objectives and stuff like that to try and, you know, get them off the objective. So I think not having dice is going to take away some of the variance. You still have some of the variance in the way that you get your card. But, you know, it would be boring, I think, if there was no randomness in it. And there's all the cool looking champions. You know, if you want to have a look at the Kickstarter, I mean, look at these miniatures. I'm not gonna lie, they're absolutely super goddamn sexy. Love the dwarf, the pirate, the wizard, the like archery lady, big giant. I want to call him an orc, not really an orc. The like Zhu Zhao is like the, I want to say Asian tiger, but we'll not go through them all. Some really cool looking miniatures that are obviously painted to a much better standard than what I'll manage. And one thing here that I want to talk about is the organized play. The fact that they're from the start planning on doing organized play gets me excited, because that's what I like. That's personally what I like to see. Not saying I'm going to win or anything, but I just like the fact I like games where the rule set is tight and they do organized play. And there's lots of videos you can watch and that kind of thing. But I wonder if they're already over the goal. I'm sure that's going to shoot up here, so we'll take it off the screen. And by the end of this video, it's going to be ridiculously high, I'm sure. But so there's a couple of things there that I really like. The fact that the randomness in it is a little bit less because of the dice rolls. I think that's good. The time frame of a game being 30 to 40 minutes, something like that, is also good. You know, the gameplay itself, with it being contained on a hexagon board, you're not going to have to measure, you're just going to have to count hexagons. I do generally like free moving pieces, but, you know, I guess it's going to speed up the game not having to do that. Yeah, there's just a couple of cool mechanics. So there's traps in the game, there's like statues and areas you're going to want to control. And for me, I say this is a game changer, right? Star Wars Legion is a fantastic game. I love Star Wars Legion. Let's not, you know, that this channel is mainly about Star Wars Legion, and that's perfect for like a 2-hour game. Star Wars Legion. I'm not trying to replace that. I think that's more than fine. But let's say you go to a club in the week. You go to your local store. You play a game of Star Wars Legion. It's cool, fantastic, epic looking shots. You then have like 40 minutes, 50 minutes before you got to go home or something. Well, what do you whack out? Yeah, there's games like Keyforge or what have you. But if you're interested in like competitive skirmishy kind of games, this sort of seems to like scream, yes, I will do that. I like the sales model. I like the miniatures. I like the look of the gameplay. The company seems friendly and kind of, as I've been speaking a little bit with Az. He seems like a very lovely chap, and obviously I've been watching the Beasts of War videos, who are now on Tabletop. You know, there's just so many things I think to really like the look of this game, the aesthetic of it, which, you know, I'll very quickly go back to. It's just like, it's vibrant, friendly. It's not grim dark. It's, hey, we're having a fun game. When you die, you get knocked out and you come back. So it means you're always possibly going to be in with a chance to win. Obviously, if you definitely are going to lose, you could just concede and speed up the game. I just think there's so much here to like. And I said at the start, like near the start, I think if Games Workshop made this, I think the internet would be going absolutely crazy for this. And because I think there's a bit of a bias, because Games Workshop is so big, and I think this game will go big regardless. At least I hope so, because it's something I'm very interested in. But I just feel like it's got the potential to take wargaming or skirmish gaming just to like a little different next level. Something like a Friday Night Magic. Like I think Shadespire Underworld was sort of doing a little bit of that, but this has potential as well to do it. And it's contained on its own board size, so you can literally probably do it on the same tables as a Magic the Gathering or Pokemon trading cards, that kind of stuff. Speed wise, 30-40 minutes. Yeah. I mean, I would generally prefer like a 20 to 40 minute game, but the reality is a game needs to be so, like, I was going to say so complex. It needs to have a complexity that makes it interesting. You know, we're not just going to roll a dice and see who gets the highest and that person wins. Yeah. So I think, like, ultimately, it has the potential, if it gets really, really big, to change the way that skirmish wargaming and wargaming as a whole is perceived. Now, that's a bold claim, right? It's a very bold claim. I'm not saying it's definitely going to. I think it's going to become a big game that a lot of people are going to enjoy. Whether or not it's a seismic shift in skirmish gaming, you know, I mean, who's to say? I'm not trying to predict that. But I feel like, for me, Star Wars Legion's going to itch that big game competitive scratch, and I think something like Super Fantasy Brawl, possibly Warcry, depends on how GW do that. Just those sorts are going to itch these like skirmish itches. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think the game's coming out, I think, well, they've got March 2020 next year. It is coming to retail, so if you don't get in on the Kickstarter, you will be able to buy it at retail, which is obviously a plus for a lot of Kickstarters these days. They actually just do the Kickstarter and that's it. Disclaimer, I'm not affiliated at all with this. I am actually just genuinely interested in this game. You know, I don't get anything if you back this. I'm not. I've spoken very briefly with Az. I was trying to get access to. I could get you some gameplay on the channel, which still might happen through different means. But yeah, I'm not affiliated with this. There's no. I'm positive about it because that's genuinely how I feel about it. When I will probably cover this mainly on Rage Crit. I do have to say that. That's probably where I'll do my main stuff on this game, because this channel is mainly dedicated to Star Wars Legion. But when something like this is interesting, I thought I just want to talk about it. Not talked about other games in Yonk, so here we go. Don't like this video, just go and check out the Kickstarter if you're interested. Support it if you are interested. Subscribe to Rage Crit if you're interested in this game particularly. And if you're interested in Star Wars Legion, then stay here and subscribe to this. Now I must say, I think my computer's been a bit weird and I might have been dropping frames, so I do apologise about that. Definitely have a beautiful day though, and definitely goodbye. Bye guys.